northern Israel as sirens continue to sound due to another missile launch from Iran. The missile alert that has now been sounded in Israel, where sirens continue to wail in the northern part of the country, and the citizens have now been forced to run for cover amid the Iran strike that has now been reported, as air raid sirens that have also been sounded, and multiple of the citizens have now been advised to take shelter. Let's get in a word from Srinjoy now. Srinjoy, this is escalating. The first, when it comes to Israel hitting at Iran, multiple cities, but mainly when it comes to nuclear facilities and military strike sites that have been targeted, Iran seems to be what Israel calls targeting its civilian areas.
This is a near war situation. Iran has hit back. Israel may hit back again or may have already done so. The issue is the enrichment facilities, because everything else is of less importance. What Iran is doing is enriching its uranium for, it says, civilian purposes, as you rightly said. But Israel says that Iran is close to making a nuclear weapon. Now, if that has to happen, enrichment has to reach a level of 80%. Now, we don't know where the enrichment levels currently are, but Iran, according to Israel, is close to making 9 atom bombs, 9 nuclear weapons. Now, to do that, you have to have enrichment at 80% plus. Now, if you are in that process of doing that, then your enrichment plants are crucial. They are very, very important. And those enrichment plants are what have been targeted, Natanz and so on. The thing is that the above-ground plants have been severely damaged. About that, there is no doubt. But the question is that the Iranians, unlike the Iraqis, who concentrated everything at Osirak, this was in 1980 or 81, the Iranians have spread their nuclear facilities into different parts of the country, and it's quite a big country. Now, keeping in mind is Israel attacks or attacks from other places. Now, number one, how much of it has been damaged is the issue. Now, also, above ground plants have been severely damaged, but Iran has big plants below ground level, are deep inside. They burrowed inside and built their plants in caves and places like that. Now, if that is so, then Iran continues to have enrichment facilities. The question is, does anybody know? That's really the point. Nobody really knows what Iran's current facilities are and where everything is. Whatever is above ground, Israel has struck, and has struck hard and severely damaged. There's no dispute on that. But what about the facilities that are below ground? They have to be considered as well. They have to be taken into account as well. Iran, of course, has struck back, but Israel says that it hasn't led to many casualties. The Iron Dome has intercepted most of their missiles with American help. And if that has happened, then there have been very few casualties.
So the question why Israel has struck Iran in these precision strikes, Israel is of the opinion saying that the very capability, if nuclear capability is something that Iran actually accesses, then it becomes existential threat to Israel and its citizens as well. According to a breaking update, we are learning that a U.S. official has confirmed that American forces are helping intercept missiles that have been fired by Iran at Israel. Now, on Friday, Israel attacked Iran's capital that targeted the country's nuclear program, killed at least 2 top military commanders and several nuclear scientists as well, raising the potential for an all-out war between the Middle Eastern adversaries. Now, what is the U.S. role here, Srinjoy?
The U.S. initially made it clear that it was not involved in the attack on Israeli nuclear facilities. So, and Marco Rubio himself, the Secretary of State, had said that. But America is involved in saving Israel from attacks that emanate from Iran, and these are missile attacks and drone attacks. And along with the Iron Dome, the anti-missile capabilities that the Americans have are going to be also very important. It will help Indians who are not just in Israel, but in neighboring areas. And believe me, there are many million, 8 million Indians in West Asia, Indian citizens in West Asia, in not just Iran and Israel, lots in Saudi Arabia, in Oman, in Qatar, in the UAE, lots and lots of people. Now, if they are under threat, then naturally it's a worry for India, which is why Prime Minister Modi has told the Israelis that, look, we should look at peace. We should end the war. Also, as Jaishankar, the External Affairs Minister, has spoken to his counterparts in both Israel and Iran.
Yes.
And it must be remembered that if the price of petroleum, crude oil goes up, it will hurt India. It will hurt India's economy.
Absolutely. And this is something, as far as the United States has made it clear, that when it comes to U.S. interests, it must not be harmed. But let's, in the meantime, put out exactly what the U.S. mission to the UN is of the opinion, issuing a statement saying that Iran has repeatedly called for Israel's eradication, launched unprovoked direct and proxy attacks on civilians, and has spread terror, instability, and suffering throughout the region. Yesterday, Israel took an unilateral action against targets in Iran. The U.S. was not militarily involved. Now Iran is firing missiles at civilian areas in Israel. The safety of U.S. citizens remains our top priority. Also saying that the attacks on U.S. bases and personnel will have dire consequences. This is a direct warning to Iran, where the United States, it says, will continue to seek diplomatic resolution that ensures Iran will never acquire a nuclear weapon or again threaten stability in the Middle East. Such has been the situation that seems to be evolving in the Middle East. Now, the people in Tehran, meanwhile, have gathered to show support for Iran's retaliatory strikes on Israeli targets. In fact, they have been cheering and welcoming when it comes to Iran's counter-strikes that they have been carried out on Israel, as the Iranian seems to be now rallying behind the strikes, and crowds have been coming out in full support on the attack against Israel, where Tehran has now been seeing these pro-strike demonstrations that have been taking place as citizens, Iranians mainly, who are coming out jointly to actually condemn Israel and the attacks that have now been taking place. Now, the counter-strike that is now concerned, where Iran had vowed that when it comes to such kind of unilateral action that has been taken by Israel, as the Zionist regime that they say that they will be made to pay and will turn Israel helpless. Now, that has been the counter that has come in from Iran's supreme leader as well. But mainly when it comes to the kind of attacks that have now been incurred by Israel, especially when it comes to its top military leadership, several nuclear scientists as well, the precision strikes that have been carried out by Israel, mainly when it comes to in Tehran and other cities as well. Israel, meanwhile, continues to target the nuclear facilities in different cities when it comes to the Natanz nuclear site. And what has now been said that the tensions have been escalating with retaliatory attacks and warnings, both nations at the UN Security Council as well. But mainly when it comes to the people there in Iran are coming out to celebrate when it comes to these retaliatory strikes that are now being carried out against Israel. Now, in the meantime, when we speak of the choke point, the disruptions in global oil shipping, the potential blockade, and where exactly will it hurt India when we speak of this escalation, if it further grows and if it becomes into right now a near war situation, but a full-blown war or conflict if it breaks out, then what happened? Any attack may halt or will delay, especially when it comes to the crucial oil shipments as well. The Strait of Hormuz is a crucial point when we speak of the oil and the LNG shipments. India may be forced to reroute the Russian oil via the Cape of Good Hope, that is in Africa, increasing transport time and cost as well. So the choke point disruptions is the Strait of Hormuz. When we speak of the Red Sea and the Cape of Good Hope, any attack may halt or will delay oil shipments, and another option would be to route Russian oil via the Cape of Good Hope, and you can see the amount of travel and time and cost that it will take for the shipments actually to reach India. That would be one of the biggest fallouts.